This was another seemingly crazy week in stocks. Chinese stocks slipped. European stocks rallied. U.S. stocks also rallied, with transportation stocks outperforming. The S&P 500 defended, with FANG stocks holding on, and Treasury yields rose. This was a week of reverence to 9/11. And today, and in the near future, we will battle Hurricane Florence, which has already dumped over 20 inches of rain. So what will happen next week in the markets? Let's take a look. We're looking at the 2-year S&P, the SPY, closing at 290.88 on Friday. And I'm using a 2-year because I want to go back and take a look at this trend line here. Through this point was pretty decent, moving on up from November of 2016 up until early 2018. At that point, we had the correction. We recovered from that, and then we continued on up here in another trend line, which we're still progressing through. Moving into the MACD, you can see that in the previous trend line, we had this kick up at this point here, the kick up, and then, of course, the top, and then the correction at this point into there. Now, the current fast line is accelerating, moving on up, but we don't see any kick up, and that's what you want to take a look at or for is a kick up, which is a some kind of a blow off top. Certainly at this point was so. We don't see that yet. And so I think we're good to go here for the near future. Moving on down here into the histogram. The histogram is showing a little bit of leveling off in the last couple of weeks or so, but that's not a real concern at this point in time. Relative strength is still continuing on up, looks good as well. The stochastics were at the top of the arc. We came under, the fast line came under, but it looks like it's heading back up, and it may continue on next week. We'll see. I expect to see something along the lines of this where we may go under. We can continue on here. This sort of went in parallel and then kicked up in this last month or so. So I'm looking for the fast line to move along with the slow line there sideways. Into volume, volume looks fine. And then, of course, the Williams is going to sawtooth in this upper area, in my opinion. Moving on back up here, looks like things continuing, and they look good. Again, this is the SPY. So now let's go to the 6-month daily chart. I've actually changed my mind. I'm using a 1-year daily chart here, and everything on this chart looks fine. And I do want to reflect back to a video I did some time ago called Bridge Over Troubled Waters. When you have a good, healthy market, it's good to see these consolidations coming down. This is probably a little bit larger of a consolidation than we wanted to see, but it did happen. And here's another one. Here's another consolidation here. And then again at this point here, we haven't really seen another consolidation for a couple of months. And I'd like to see us move up here and then come back down maybe to the 50 EMA, perhaps even below, have another consolidation at some point in time so we can reset. Looking here, you can see that we had the consolidation here and then here, and I'm looking for perhaps something in a couple of weeks or so. It's good to have these sort of bridges that go and move like that so we can start off with a good foundation and then move to another foundation. And I'm hoping something's going to come here in the near future or so, but I don't quite see it yet. But everything does still look fine. MAC histogram is fine. The relative strength looks good, and you can see the foundations set at these different points here. And I'd like to see another one come soon. I think we will, but it's going to be a few weeks from now. And it's probably most prevalent into the stochastics and in the Williams where you see these things like this and again like that. And I just want to see perhaps another one come at some point in time here. And I think that timing would be into perhaps October, maybe late October, something of that sort. So we can reset and then gain the strength from that point and move on into the future into 2019. So I'm still looking for something coming out at here, and that would give us a very good footing to have a good early 2019. So right now, everything looks decent, looks fine. It looks like we're continuing on up. I would just like to see a reset maybe toward that 50 EMA. But for the most part, everything looks fine. So for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.